All right. All right. Hello, podcast world, social media world. This is Rich Dudak coming to you with a good friend of mine, Mike Phillips. And our goal today, we are toying around with the idea of perhaps a regular conversation to provide and share some value with the audience, whatever audience I can maintain or build here on these platforms. Of course, just a tag for you. I very likely could be, found in a lower algorithm because some of the things that I want to talk about or I hope to share with you. So I'm not totally sold out on the platform I'm currently using. We're hoping to be able to get a conversation started here and maybe migrate to other platforms that are a little bit more respectful of free speech and individual freedoms. So the topic of our discussion today is preparing for holiday shopping during a financial crisis. What do you think of that title, Mike?
Well, I think that's a very good subject. There's a lot to be said about buying things when you really don't have the means to pay for them.
So do you think families right now are feeling financial stress with the price of everything going up and this feeling they have to provide these presents for
There's an ongoing financial crisis, and to be honest with you, Christmas puts an unnecessary stress on people, and people have gotten away from the true meaning of Christmas.
So we were talking a little bit before we went live here, and you were saying some things about maybe, it used to be a little bit more common to have homemade presents, which are a lot more cost effective, right?
Yes, and mean more to a parent or something if a child makes something, a homemade Christmas card, which is, you can do that. You can present it to them in a bag instead of wrapping paper because they're just going to throw the wrapping paper away.
Yep. A good friend of mine says brown paper package is tied up with string.
That's fine. That's still a wrapping.
Exactly.
I mean, newspaper was another way.
Right.
To buy all this stuff for Christmas for your front lawn and this and that, and then it's only used for so long, and then it ends up either in the attic or in the garbage can.
Absolutely.
Good
friend of mine, anybody that's followed me for a little bit of time, about the financial fitness program. And one of the principles in here pretty early on is to never, set yourself an amount. For our family, it's $100. Before we spend $100 on anything, we want to sleep on it. Okay. A lot of times we're going through and we see these deals popping up in front of us and we feel, oh, gotta have it now. Somebody else might get it if I don't. But we've gotten a little bit better at it. I'd love to say that we're applying these principles consistently, but a lot of times my wife and I have to kind of work together on these things, and there's compromises that need to be made sometimes. But we've gotten a lot better at sleeping on it. And a lot of times the next day you feel, I don't really need that thing. I don't really need to, buy a new bigger clock to replace the littler clock I just had. So that's consider that principle in all of our purchases, but especially now coming into this season where people traditionally spend thousands of dollars that many times, I know myself included, I spent the next 6 or 8 months paying off because I wasn't able to pay for those things with cash. So I put them on some sort of credit.
And sometimes giving cash, and then they can shop after the holiday when stuff goes on clearance and on sale.
Amen.
That was always what we did when we were kids. We would get cash or money, or hey, wait till it goes on sale after Christmas.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you have to have it Christmas Day.
Right.
I'll give you an example. My grandfather always gave us whatever. If we were going to get, he said, just give me $20, or he'd give us $20. That was it. Back then it was a decent amount. But
$20 used to be a lot of money.
Yes, and then we would save our money, and we go after Christmas.
Hmm.
A lot of times you'll get better deals. It doesn't mean you have to produce something on or before Christmas.
Hmm.
I don't think too many people that are Christmas shopping for anything is, they're not going without food.
Right.
The Christmas presents are a luxury.
That's right.
The other thing I like better is just the experience of the meal and the family get together. But the bottom line
I've
is,
been seeing a lot more people nowadays talking about that, and I'm glad to see that more and more people are realizing that this whole occasion, this whole celebration, is really
commercialized.
about the family, about the relationship. My faith is not about a religion or a rituals. It's about a relationship. And if we're this time of year is celebrating the birth of our Messiah, then why has it become so commercialized? Why is it so much about these material things and giving gifts and all this, and less about spending time with each other?
Psychologically programmed, unnecessarily, by the media, by the radio, that these things, you need or have to have these things.
So we're talking again, some just tidbits, some pointers, maybe some encouragement. If you're having some of these thoughts and thinking about, what's this holiday season going to look like, be encouraged. Go ahead and reconsider some of those purchases. Get some ideas for some homemade gifts. Put a little bit more emphasis on the get together instead of the presents and all that. And like Mike said, great point. Sometimes giving cash, is a much better use of the money. The individual maybe can.
There's also regifting.
Regifting, yeah.
Then there's also the aspect of, hey, maybe don't give anything this year.
Right.
You can't really afford it, and don't feel the pressure of the stores and the big guys that want you to buy something,
or the peer pressure,
does not mean you have to buy anything. So you can always wish people well and shake their hand and say Merry Christmas.
Absolutely,
there's nothing wrong with that either. And all the other holidays, Easter and Mother's Day and Valentine's Day and all that stuff, if it's got a commercialized overtone to it, you don't have to buy something for Easter. You don't have to buy something for Valentine's Day. It could be something as simple as taking them out to dinner, or maybe even a card. It doesn't mean you have to produce an Easter basket.
Yeah, I call it Resurrection Sunday. I don't even like to use that word, but so we're just tossing out some ideas here. So with that being said, it may still be unavoidable that we're going to have some additional expenses, some additional costs associated with this season. And again, our goal is to share with our audience some value and some of the things that we've found to help along those lines. So, we've got Thanksgiving coming up here in a couple of days. We've got Christmas, we've got New Year's, we've got all these occasions where we're going to maybe have a meal, invite people over. Maybe we are going to have some small gifts, reasonably speaking. The world we live in today has become, just very centrally controlled. And if you're not realizing it yet, we are being driven towards more centralized control. And over the last few years, due to the scamdemic, or under the guise of the scandemic, we were, as a society, almost coerced or forced into doing a significant amount more of our spending through the bank card, right? Because it's hard to shop online, and many people found themselves only being able to shop online a few years ago.
Well, they promoted contactless delivery.
Exactly.
It's like, okay, you can almost read between the lines when you see a lot of what's going on the radio. Yeah. The funniest thing that I've ever heard on the radio was the such and such tax relief agency, avoid the IRS. There's a lot of people that they're aiming this towards. Hey, if you ain't got the tax money, 3 hots and a cot might not be so bad. They make you think that you're going to go to. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's a brainwashing. There's a lot of other things, hey, look, people just don't have it anymore. And they're feeling this pressure that, well, Junior's got to have that bicycle. No, he doesn't.
Right.
No, he doesn't. You don't have to have that diamond ring.
Right.
You need food, clothing, shelter.
Amen.
Those are the three things.
The bare necessities.
Right. And you know what? Just because you didn't get them something for Christmas doesn't mean you won't be able to get them something in the summer when you have more money coming in.
Yeah.
I can see bankruptcies are going to be on the rise. I can see everything that happened with Obama. Not saying I'm picking on any president, but during that administration, everything went downhill afterwards. A lot of people went bankrupt. A lot, but it was due to, well, I got to have the latest cell phone, or I got to have the latest bicycle or electric bike. I gotta have a laptop.
On that point, did you know that through the last financial crisis we went through, the 2008, 2009, 2010, of the millions of people who went bankrupt, that over 80%, I think it's something like 87, almost 90% of every one of those people that went bankrupt would not have had to do that, would not have lost their home, save for an extra $200 to $250 a month in their budget.
Correct.
If they had an extra $200, $250 a month, they would not have had to go bankrupt or lose their home. That would have saved 90% of all those people. I believe we're living through a similar situation today. However, that $200 to $250 is a little bit higher. It's actually closer to $600 a month that the average family is short just to live the same way they were 2 years ago. So with what we've shared so far, that would be with the idea of if you're short on a regular basis, if you're going, unfortunately, in debt just to keep things going, then you should have a different mindset going through this season. If you're borrowing money to buy gifts, it might not be the best thing to do. So with that understanding, assuming that we've put some money aside, we've got a little bit of savings set up for this season coming up. The idea is, how do we meet the needs that we have? How do we purchase these things and do it as smartly as possible? Save as much money as possible. Stretch and maximize our finances as much as we can. And we've got a program called Starfish and the Consumer Rebellion that helps that in a great way. Not only does it help us save money on all the things we're purchasing,
you get cash back as well.
You get cash back, because you're not using the Visa, MasterCard centralized banking system anymore. You're using a platform that is outside of that system. And because it doesn't have to pay those transaction fees and pay those loss prevention fees, a lot of times people don't realize that the cost to a merchant like Walmart, Home Depot, these national merchants, the cost to them in transaction fees is actually smaller than the cost that they incur every year from credit card write-off fees. So if somebody cancels their credit card because they say there was some shenanigans going on with it, that merchant many times, if not most times, has to eat the loss. That all that merchandise that somebody put on a credit card, they just have to put that on their profit and loss statement. So by using a platform like this, they don't have to incur those types of losses, so they can share more of their perks with us for using this secondary platform. But aside from the money savings, the thing that I think is most valuable about this new platform, and hopefully you're curious, you want some more information, you'll send me a comment or something like that, and we can talk about it. But I'm going to keep it somewhat brief today, that there's an educational component, that the ideas that we have and the thinking that we do as we go through this season is the most important thing. And so understanding the truth about inflation, why are prices going up like crazy almost everywhere? What's going on with that? What is what should we be expecting with the way our government is just printing and creating money and sending it all over the world and just spending it ridiculously crazy? How does that affect us? And what can we do as individuals to prepare for an uncertain economy and many changes going forth? So I'm going to kind of close up here for now. Did you have any closing comments, Mike?
Well, the other thing could be, sometimes if you go to the Goodwill, they have stuff that's still brand new in the box.
Absolutely.
A lot of these stores will donate stuff to those, and you can buy stuff for half price or whatever they. That's one aspect. That's one aspect of it, and the other, sometimes just shake their hand and say Merry Christmas. That's acceptable too. And what Rich touched on is we are uncertain about the future. So we need to invest in tangible things such as gold, silver, Bitcoin, paying off the house, paying off the car, because then you own it outright. You're not at the mercy of a credit card or a situation or a lender.
One thing just
take that control back,
on the subject of investing, I totally agree with savings in gold, silver, Bitcoin, things like that. And investing is the only way we get a growth or an abundance. I can buy 10, 15 gold coins, and the value of those gold coins might be higher than they are today in 4 or 5 years, but they didn't turn into 15 coins. They're still 10 gold coins, right? They didn't grow into 15 gold coins. So I look at that as really a savings method that is obviously protected from the destruction of our dollar. But an investment, it speaks of growth. I put this much in, and I want more than I put in to come back out. And
which is really what Starfish is an investment in yourself.
Yes, and I think every single family would do themselves a great favor just by starting a home-based small business, a way of generating additional revenue into your home. And we can talk about in later episodes of what makes a good for the economic climate we're in. What are some of the best ideas that we can use to have that home-based business? We'll talk about that in a little bit later. Please share your comments, questions in the comments there, and we appreciate your time. Have a great day.